All right, and we're live. So this is another episode of Quarantine at Harvard. It's always a pleasure to talk, and today I'm joined with, of course, my co-host Melissa. How are you doing, Melissa?
We are good. We're vibing. How are you, David?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I think both of us have have been running on some short fumes here in terms of sleep, but we are alive and kicking. Um, But of course, today's episode is not about us. It's about two very special people. And before I get ahead of myself, which I almost always do, I'm gonna give the floor to them to introduce themselves. How are you guys doing? Well, I guess sorry. Who are you and how are you guys
Hi, I'm Abby White. Thank you, David and Melissa, for having us on today. I am in the class of 2024 along with Eileen, and we are here to talk about park radio.
Yeah, that's also goes for me. I'm also, and I'm here to talk about our play podcast shindig.
There we go. There we go. And we shouldn't beat around the dingleberry bush here. Let's just talk about park radio here. Um, it is a new show that we were honestly super excited. So I guess we got some backstory here, right? You guys emailed us and said, um, you're in production on this really cool project, and you'd like us to collaborate with you to help bring this to light, bring this to the mainstream media. No, I'm just kidding. We're not that large either. We don't command
We're
a
getting there. We're
thousand.
getting there, but it's
We're
okay.
getting there. That's the there we go. Um, but yeah, so I'm always in the mood of a good origin story. How did this happen? Well, first of all, how'd you guys meet?
I can take that, and then Eileen can talk about the genesis of the project because it was more her idea. So we met this summer over the first year arts orientation program. We were actually matches since we were all online and we didn't have a chance to room with people. So they matched us up with people who they thought we would have a lot in common with or share similar interests. And Eileen and I got matched together, and that was the start of our friendship and artistic collaboration.
And then I was sitting outside of a building one day and I heard three different conversations and I was like, this is hilarious. And then I was also like, I really miss hearing like conversations and eavesdropping because I haven't been able to eavesdrop a lot over COVID and I really miss that. Um, so I was like, Abby, what if we made a play, but it's like a podcast and you just listen to it and it's different people talking and their conversations overlap and it forms like a story and an experience. And she was like, on it, Eileen, let's do it. And I was like, oh, for real? And then we started going.
Of all the things that I've heard people say they miss about quarantine, about normal life, and I've heard the gym, I've heard vacation spots, I've heard, friends and family at school. Of all those, I've never heard eavesdropping as a missed missed thing that
I
that did not occur during quarantine.
I feel like the Zoom equivalent of eavesdropping is when two people are private messaging and one of them like accidentally sends it to the public chat. But like
Oh
I
my
kind of
gosh, yes.
miss that feeling though, Eileen. Like I just miss like hearing people's conversations and stuff. Not in like a creepy way, but just like you know.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Even if you don't hear exactly what the other like what the people around you are saying, you still have that sense of community that you're with other people. Like when you're sitting in a park, there are people kind of all scattered around you, and when you're in quarantine, you really don't have that, and you hear the sound of silence, which in a way sometimes can be taken as a good thing or a very sobering thing.
Mhm.
No, yeah, absolutely. I can speak from currently experience that silence in the dorm room is quite deafening. It is, yeah. I agree because I'm sure Eileen has because she's around here. But like Boston Commons, for instance, I went there for the first time um about a week or two ago, and yeah, like even though everyone was in quarantine and more or less social distance, uh, it was very comforting to hear like the background noise or the white noise of conversation. I obviously couldn't pick up on exact words, But yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. So I also love the spontaneity of this. I mean, it was obviously inspired, but would you guys say that you've had prior experience to anything related to this project?
No.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah,
I
we were
love it.
both theater kids in high school, but that was kind of the extent of it. So we were more familiar with plays, musicals, that style of theater, and that has also had to change because of the pandemic. So this is another way to still create art, but we're trying it in a podcast form. So it's very experimental for us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And just to confirm as well, Melissa, you were also in the first year arts program, right?
Yes, I was also. Lovely experience. Actually, for all of our listeners here, the way that we were connected is through one of the people who runs the first year arts programs, and he actually kind of helped connect us here at Quarantine at Harvard and then with Park Radio together. And so that's kind of how we bonded and found out about this whole thing. But yeah, the first year arts program, I also had a match, super lovely person, and I feel like they did a great job with that system, evidently. So
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much to the first year arts program.
Yeah, definitely. So Park Radio now, right? You guys just finished up your first episode in terms of production. Are you guys already on second episode now, like working on it?
We are going to begin that like after Halloween because I'm very tired and
midterm
I was like
season
I'm
takes a toll.
Mhm.
yeah. Guys, I'm not sure midterm season ends.
I
Um
agree with that.
I feel like it's a it's less of a season and more of just like a new way of life. Like
Right, you go
Yeah,
from like grinding for midterms to grinding for another midterm, and then it just even when you don't have midterms, you're still grinding. So it's like it just never stops.
yeah. Let's talk about that real quick because we were kind of chit chatting about that before recording. First of all, I think during quarantine is even more apparent because a lot of classes are doing these like 2 week every 2 weeks take a test instead of like one big midterm, one big final. Um, honestly, honestly, I kind of like that thing versus one big midterm versus one big final. The reason why I say that is because, and I know this is like completely distracting, but this is an important conversation. Um, the reason why I like that is because like it just makes me review the concepts more often, more frequently. I don't know about you guys if you guys prefer the big two tests of each semester. Um, Melissa's like, no, absolutely not.
No. Look, I from high school. So when I was in freshman year, we had midterms and finals, but then they got rid of midterms, and then we had a change in policy for finals where originally it was like if you have 3 absences for the whole year, you have to take the final. So, but then they changed that because like it didn't make sense because like people were coming to school with like 103-degree fevers, which like you should not do, right? And so they got rid of that policy, and so they consequently like kind of got rid of the final. And so I come from a school where we didn't really have a midterm or a final exam, and I was used to these cumulative tests like every 2 or 3 or 1 week. And so I definitely think it's more familiar to me going to this online format, having that style rather than like one big midterm and one big final. And also like kind of like on the standardized test like ideas, like I feel like it's just a lot easier on students in general to know that like their whole grade does not rest upon like 1 or 2 tests because like sometimes you just have off days, right? So yeah.
at my high school, we would do like a final, and it would be like for like the whole year of material, and we'd like wouldn't have to come to school that week, and you just like come in for your final, right? And so I would like get done with finals and sleep for like 3 days straight. Like I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like I would
Hibernation
sleep for
mode.
multiple days.
Yeah, yeah. I remember that. Just drop into a coma after.
Casual coma. Fine.
Oh man. All right. So sorry about that quick detour, but I really did want to get that out. It might be cool. Maybe like once we come back to normal times, it will still continue with that 2 week or like frequent test versus midterm final. But we'll see. We'll see. And sorry, not if we come back, when we come back. I apologize. Knock on wood, of course. But I wanted to obviously dedicate some time to talk about specifically episode 1, without, of course, giving away too much information because you guys should check it out. It's dropping very soon. Um, I guess let's talk about a little bit about the elements of episode 1 and what you guys wanted to do for the first episode, as obviously the title. Um, yeah, just a quick summary trailer per se of this first one.
I shall speak. And it's we wanted to do one that's based kind of around memory, because it's been a long time now since we could like eavesdrop, and we were like, oh, let's remember, right? So that's like kind of like a nice way to bring us back into the space. So the like topic of the episode is like remembering. There's 2 conversations, one older couple and a younger couple, and there's some conflict there over the collective memory of those 2 couples, and those overlap and highlight each other's differences and each other's strengths, and it's an exciting ride.
Definitely some twists.
How did you guys obtain these conversations? I'm assuming you didn't like actually eavesdrop onto other people's conversations and record them, right?
Definitely writers' imagination came into effect here. We had a team of writers that had their own ideas, and then we kind of pooled them together and formed a script out of what we liked. Each person was represented through some element of the conversations.
Nice. And who voiced these? Who were the narrators?
Abby, you go again.
Oh, okay. So we had a team of writers and a team of actors as well to kind of act as narrators. So the idea is that it's kind of an auditory play that you're put into with a tiny director's note at the beginning. So the narrator in that sense is the director, but then once you get into the actual conversations, you're hearing it in real time by the people that are in the script. We tried to keep the names relatively ambiguous and let the actors play with them and choose that, so you'd never really hear names except for a few specific moments, and I can't say more because then it will give away part of the plot line.
Absolutely. That's so cool. So you guys have like a whole production team. Actors, writers. I mean, how'd you I mean,
we also have tech people. Oh yeah.
Oh right. Oh man, yeah, because like Melissa can confirm, it's really hard to maintain a team. I mean, even us for the quad squad it's difficult to like find time where all of us are available to talk or meet. Yeah, how'd that go? I mean, was that, I'm sure it wasn't an easy process.
Well, it's a lot of when to meet, and then also, so because we go monthly, so we're planning on doing 1 episode a month. So basically, there's like 4 teams, right? So you have like writing, acting, directing, teching, and advertising. And so there's 4 weeks in a month, and we were like, we can do this. It's fine. So like each group only has to meet that like intensely for that like 1 week, and then or like write for that 1 week, and then we all get together for that 1 week, and then we'll be like, this is our product. Now let's have actors read it. If the actors are reading it and they're like, this makes no sense, then we're like, okay, writers, come back for a second. And then that's the same thing. So like if the actors we've recorded it and then we're starting to tech it and we're like, oh, this makes no sense. Actors, come back, please, just for a hot second. And so, yeah, so we basically do it weekly, a weekly topic, so that it's not like that hard to get everybody together because they're like, oh, this is my week. I gotta push this week.
And if people are available in other weeks and want to assist, of course we're open to them. But in the case of the writers, they're usually there for the first week. Sometimes they might like pop into the acting week just to say, oh, this is how we intended the line, or just to be there for support. The production team has been very supportive of one another, all the groups, so that's been really special.
Oh man, this is just so inspiring. Like I want to be part of one of these teams now. To just it's amazing. I mean,
very nice.
Yeah, we're openly recruiting. Come join.
Of course. And are these all first years as well?
Almost all 4 first years. There's a few non-first years.
Oh my God, that's so cool. Okay, and I guess the big $1 million question is, after I guess season 1 of Park Radio ends, do you foresee multiple seasons, multiple years? Is this something that, obviously it's an unfair question kind of, because it's like just the first episode. Um, but yeah, like even when we come back to normal times, are you expecting to stay in this kind of format, or go back to the good old bread and butter physical physical performance?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. It really came out of a very specific time in our history, So like I don't know, and I think it also depends on like whether people listen to it, whether people like it. Like if I'm just like screaming this play into the void after quarantine ends, like that doesn't really make any sense. Um, so yeah, Abby, what do you think?
Honestly, because of the uncertainty of the times, it's hard to give a definite answer. I do feel like this will at least try to give back some of that feeling, as Eileen was saying earlier, of connection, community, through somewhat eavesdropping, or a nicer way to put it is like overhearing like little bits of conversations, and that connection shouldn't be lost even when we do get back to quote normal times. So it might be possible to keep doing it, but as Eileen said, if another format would work better for that, as in like an in-person in a theater or something, maybe we'll have to transform with the times, but it's really difficult to say right now.
Yeah, and the only reason why I ask is because I heard this really cool quote by a fantastic individual, Sir Ken Robinson. I don't know if you guys have heard of him before. Melissa knows I I like rant about him on this podcast, because like he's also a staunch supporter in creative education, but he actually, his career started as a theater teacher. And he gave a talk once at this summit or something, and he spoke about like how you can distill down a lot of things into like its most fundamental elements. Like for theater, you can take away the stage, the lights, the hardwood flooring. I'm not a theater person, so I can't say more. But really, if you boil everything down, it's between an actor, or you know I don't know the technical term, but the actor and the audience, right? That relationship, just simply with a performer and someone watching. And if you boil it down there, that's why I found podcasts so interesting as like an experimental feature, because it really does push the boundaries of how much you can boil this down. Because you took away the you took away the stage, you took away the costume. Literally, the only thing that's connected with the audience between the performer is voice and audio. One media, and you have to somehow stretch that into this cohesive performance that I'm sure you guys did as well. But yeah, I mean, it is pushing the envelope, right? And maybe once we do come back, this could become, because it's also more accessible, right? Would you say? I mean, I'm assuming that performances occur, like you have to go to a theater. I'm not trying to put it as like it's a hassle, but it there's a certain barrier to entry to enter a theater, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about the writing process for episode 1, because of course one of the vices of a large team is that there's competing opinions, competing directions. How'd you guys consolidate that? Um,
Well, what we do is that, so we don't really know how like a real writing team works because we have zero experience. So we were like, let's make something up. And so basically, what we've been doing is, so the writers all like come up with an idea, and then we're like, we get in a Zoom and we're like, what are your favorite ideas? And then people like share their ideas, and then we'll like jump in like, oh my gosh, we could do like um uh two couples sitting in a park, or we could do like, oh, these like frenemies are gonna fight to the death. That wasn't an option, I don't know why I said that. And so and then like we'll talk about it, and then whichever like thing, whichever like idea, like central element combines the most of these like cool things that we could do, or the one that people got most excited about, that's the one we run with. And then we like each write a short play in one day or 2 days. And then we'll bring it into the next Zoom call and we'll be like, okay, so this is my short play. And then we read them. And then we're like, I really like the style of Melissa's the best. And so then we'll all be like, okay, cool. So let's take Melissa's script and then let's each add something to it. Like, let's add, but like, I really liked how Abby did the dialogue in this section, or I really like the element that David added, like the like element of tension he added to the scenario, and then we'll like each edit that script separately, adding in like our own personal zazz, and then we'll take that big script all together. We'll try and iron out some like incongruities, I don't know, and then it'll be like one whole, and then we'll send it to the actors.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and again, I think the idea itself is also inspiring, but I think what's just the coolest part about this is just how you were able to not even command, like facilitate, this really collaborative team, right? It's not like do this, do this, do this. It's, what's your idea? What's your idea? And to be able to do it even within a month, because that may seem long, but yeah, this was like a really fast timeline for something this large of a scale to occur. And this is again an open-ended question, so it's always difficult to like exactly glean out something immediately, which you don't need to. But any other challenges that you guys faced doing this? I mean, I'm only assuming it was a path of great resistance, but anything else beyond what we talked about? Yeah, and so sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Abby, do you want to go or should I go? Or
I honestly, you should go, Eileen, because I cannot think of any challenges off the top of my head.
the thing that I panicked about was when I sent the when to meet out to the actors and they were only available like at the same time for 1 hour, and I was like, oh no. Um, and then I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Everyone's gonna rehearse separately, and then we're gonna film it all together once. Which was, it wasn't really that bad, but it was like a small amount of panic when I was like, oh, we cannot rehearse. That's bad. But it was fine, yeah.
Oh wait, I guess okay, this is probably an interesting question. Were the people who were part of this team, were they? I'm assuming they were all from around the world, right? Because we're in quarantine. Not all of us are on campus. Is that true? I mean, you guys had upperclassmen as well.
Most of us are on campus, I think. But Abby, do you want to take this?
There are a few people who are off campus, so it's been nice to have that connection with people who are outside of campus as well as on campus. It's just figuring out scheduling for everybody. That's kind of been interesting because some people who are on campus, like, they tend to have different schedules than those people who are off campus, but we're making it work, and when to meets have become our best friend.
Yeah, absolutely. But and again, the reason why I ask, and I may be fishing for all of these, but like again, I'm just trying to understand at least the possibility of like podcast theater being like a significant future even after hopefully soon this whole quarantine debacle. And I think one of the other great benefits is that again, since it's online and production really doesn't need to occur in person, you can have like these international level collaborations that occur very seamlessly or more or less seamlessly. So yeah, I think what you guys are doing here has some serious. I mean, I can't say say so for sure, but I really do believe that what Park Radio is doing has some serious implications for the future of theater. So yeah, congratulations, guys. No,
Thank you.
yeah. So I guess with that, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that it is recorded, so we're in this gray zone between theater and cinema, and I think that a lot of theater purists would be like, oh, but it's not live. And maybe we could find a way to do it over the phone. in the future, but because there's been a lot of phone plays going on, and those are really cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I just realized that's the only part that I completely forgot. That's not an element of theaters. It has to be live. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, I don't really know how to, because I've only ever done podcasts, and like those obviously are recorded and edited and everything prior. So it's probably been like a couple weeks before after like wrap up that an audience actually gets to hear it. But interesting. Yeah, interesting thought to leave off of. But I think it's great. It's a great point to end off on. Park Radio episode should be dropping very soon after the publishing of this episode. And yeah, thank you again, Eileen and Abby, for coming on. And I absolutely love the passion you're showing for this project.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.